The forgotten crate in the far corner of a cold, silent space station. There was a crate. It was old, dusty, and half broken. Most workers at the Galactic Adoption Center didn't even notice it anymore. It had been there for years, maybe more. Inside the crate, under a thin silver blanket, sat a small alien girl. Her skin was soft blue. Her eyes were big and shiny like stars. But those eyes were always sad, always tired. Her name was Zara, at least. That's what the first family had called her before they returned her. She had been returned 47 times. On the outside of her crate, a digital tag blinked weakly. Subject: Zara. Status: return. Not suitable. Emotionally unstable. Warning: do not keep more than 7 days. Zara didn't cry anymore. She had stopped a long time ago. Her heart, if you could call it that, was heavy. She had learned not to speak unless spoken to. She had learned not to smile. Every time she had shown love, humans got scared. Every time she had shown her power, they panicked. So now, she just waited and waited and waited, until one day, the air changed. The loudspeaker cracked. Attention. Human arrival in Sector 9. Species: Earth male. Clearance: Level 3. Mission: Companion adoption. Zara's small body shook. A human. Again, she hugged her knees tighter. Her glowing silver hair dimmed. She didn't want to go through it again. They always said the same things. She's not normal. She's too quiet. She glitched. Our tech. Return her. But curiosity lived in her bones. She peeked through a crack in her crate. A tall man walked into the center. His boots were worn. His jacket was scratched and patched. He looked like he didn't care much about anything. But his eyes, they were kind. Tired, but kind. His name was Jake. He wasn't here for love. He didn't even like kids. He just needed something to keep him company on his long space missions. Nothing more. Robotic assistant floated beside him. We have several options, it said. Strong, quiet, obedient, no powers. Jake raised an eyebrow. That's a weird way to describe someone. The robot blinked. Sorry. Correction. Friendly. Non-emotional. Standard unit models. Jake rolled his eyes. I don't want a robot. I want someone real. The robot hesitated. We may have one more, but she is not recommended. Returned many times. Emotional damage. Possible energy overloads. Jake stopped walking. Where is she? The robot pointed toward the back. Crate 9X. Sector Delta. He walked slowly to the dark corner. The lights flickered above. The crate was barely visible. He knelt down, knocked gently. Hey, he said softly. Anyone in there? Silence. Zara didn't move. I won't hurt you, he said. I'm not like the others. She peeked through the crack again. Her eyes met his. They stayed there locked for a long second. Then she spoke. In a voice so small it almost disappeared. You return me to. Jake didn't answer right away. He looked at her. Really looked. Her arms were thin. Her clothes were torn. But her eyes, they were beautiful. Full of stars. Full of pain. He stood up. Open the crate, he told the robot. Sir, I must warn you, open it. With a hiss, the crate unlocked. The top lifted. Zara didn't move. She looked like a scared kitten. Fragile. Quiet. Jake held out a hand. Want to get out of here? She stared. Then slowly, carefully, she reached out and touched his fingers. The lights above flickered again. Just a little. Jake smiled. That's better. The robot buzzed. I must insist you read the return policy. Jake turned to it. I don't need a policy. I need a co-pilot. But sir, file the adoption. Zara didn't understand why this human was different. But something inside her, something small and broken, started to feel warm, like a tiny sun waking up. As they walked out of the center, Zara looked back at her crate one last time. That old, dark box had been her world. Now, maybe, she had a new one, but far behind them. A voice whispered inside the system logs. Zen 9 has been released. Monitor all activity. If the human fails, retrieve or destroy. The reluctant Bond. Jake's ship, the Iron Wren, floated silently in orbit above a blue gas giant. From the outside, It looked like a mix between an old cargo freighter and a forgotten war relic. Inside, it wasn't much better. Dim lights, creaky floors, tools scattered everywhere. It wasn't made for kids. Zara sat quietly on a metal seat near the cockpit. She held her knees again, just like she did in the crate. Her eyes scanned the ship nervously. It smelled like oil and burnt wires. It felt like another crate, just bigger. Jake adjusted the controls, occasionally glancing at her. Hungry? He asked. She shook her head. Wants to sleep? Another shake. Jake scratched his chin. You ever talk more than 2 words? Zara blinked. Sometimes, he chuckled. Progress. But truth be told, he didn't know what he was doing. He wasn't a parent. He wasn't even a good cook. His idea of dinner was protein bars and water packets. Look, he sighed. We're gonna be stuck together for a while. You don't need to be scared of me. I'm not scared, she said, her voice soft. I'm waiting. Jake frowned. Waiting for what? She looked away. For you to change. Something about the way she said it sent a chill down his spine. Hours passed. Then strange things began. The lights in the hallway flickered again. The engine, fully repaired last week, suddenly sputtered. His navigation computer flashed error code, X9E, a code he'd never seen before. And at night, while he slept, he heard humming. Soft. Sad. Not human. He got up one night, walked toward the sound, and found her sitting in the dark. No lights on, just her, glowing softly. Hey, he called. What are you doing? She looked up, startled. The glow vanished instantly. I'm sorry, she whispered. It calms me. Jake stared. What is that? My voice, she said. My real one. Next morning, he checked her file. Jake plugged her ID chip into his old console. The data loaded slowly. Most of it was corrupted, but one folder remained. Origin, unknown, Project XN9 status. Failed integration, return only alert. Emotional linked energy core containment necessary. Jake leaned back in his chair. What the hell are you? That night, he confronted her. You've been returned a lot, he said bluntly. Why? Zara didn't answer right away. Then she stood, walked slowly to the viewing window, and pointed to the stars. I feel too much, she said. Humans don't like that. Jake sat beside her. That doesn't explain the humming, or the power glitches, or your file saying you're dangerous. Zara didn't look at him. I don't want to be dangerous, Jake sighed. Then don't be. She turned her head. That's not how it works. Later that day, another glitch. This time serious. The ship's oxygen control unit failed. Emergency lights flashed. Jake rushed to the engine bay. It wasn't a mechanical issue. It was her. Zara was curled up on the floor, shaking, eyes wide open. The air around her was vibrating, tiny sparks floating in the air. Zara? Jake shouted. Breathe. You're okay. I had a dream, she whispered. They took you away. The ship trembled again. Jake knelt down, grabbed her small hand. I'm not going anywhere. Not unless you melt this place. Zara blinked. The glow dimmed. The tremble stopped. Just like that, the ship came back to life. Jake stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time. She had shut the ship down with her feelings, but someone else had noticed too. Far away, at an abandoned space station deep in Sector Black, a silent drone activated. Its eyes glowed red. Its mission file updated. Target, XN9 located status, breached. Containment directive. Observe. Report. Neutralize if uncontrolled. Back on the ship. The first laugh. The next day, Jake tried cooking something from an old Earth recipe, pancakes. He wasn't very good at it. Most of them were burned. Zara stared at the black, flat circles on her plate. Jake made a face. Yeah, I know. They look like moon rocks. Zara giggled. Just once. Just a little. Jake froze. Wait, was that a laugh? Zara smiled, barely. They're not that bad. Liar. Jake smirked. You're lucky I don't cook often. She took a bite anyway. And for the first time since she left the crate, maybe for the first time ever, she felt a little normal. But peace never lasts in space. Later that evening, while Zara slept, Jake got a message. A secret one. No sender. Just a code. He decoded it slowly. His face turned pale. She is not a girl. She is a power core. An emotional bomb. She was never meant to live with humans. Return her, or be ready to die with her. He looked at her, peaceful, curled up like a kitten under an old blanket. And for the first time, Jake felt fear. Something's wrong with her. The silence inside the iron wren had changed. Before, it was just an old ship making old noises, groans, creaks, the occasional engine wheeze. Now, the silence felt tense, like the ship itself was holding its breath. Jake stood near the central control panel. The message from the unknown source still flashed on the screen. She is not a girl. She is a power core. Emotional bomb. Return her or die with her. His hands gripped the edge of the console. His mind raced. He had seen strange things before, fought in battles, seen alien weapons, survived solar storms, but nothing like this. Nothing like Zara. A sudden cold. Jake walked into the hallway and stopped. The temperature had dropped by several degrees. His breath fogged up in the air. Zara? He called out. No answer. He followed the chill into the back room, where Zara slept. But tonight, she wasn't asleep. She was floating 2 feet off the ground, her body limp, her hair floating like it was underwater. A dim silver blue light pulsed from her chest, timed with her breath. Jake froze. Zara? Her eyes opened, suddenly pure white, no pupils. The lights in the room exploded. Jake ducked. Damn it. Zara gasped and fell to the floor. The glow vanished. She looked up at Jake, tears already in her eyes. I didn't mean to, she whispered. I had another dream. Jake stared at her, heart racing. What the hell's happening to you? I don't know, she said. But it's getting worse. The hidden chamber. Later, while Zara rested, Jake did something he never thought he would. He broke into her collar chip security system. Most of it was protected by something advanced, way beyond human tech. But he found one file, buried deep. It had no name, just numbers. He opened it. Project X and 9, designed for emotional energy conversion. Subject bonded with empathy and trauma. High instability if attachment forms. Last successful test. Neutralization failed. Recommended solution. Memory wipe every 48 hours. Status: escaped. Destroy on sight. Jake's mouth went dry. They had been erasing her memories every 2 days. No wonder she barely remembered anything. No wonder she was so afraid of being returned. She was never allowed to feel safe. Until now. Sudden change in Zara. Next morning, Jake found Zara sitting in the control room. She was touching the console, her fingers glowing softly, data flowing directly into her skin. He pulled her back. Zara, what are you doing? I was fixing it, she said calmly. You had a cracked shield line. I sealed it. Jake stared at her. How do you even know what a shield line is? I just know. She looked up at him, serious now. Jake, something's wrong with me. You're not wrong, he said quickly. You're just no, she said. I don't think I'm a girl. Not really. I think I was made for something. Jake was quiet. You're not a thing, but I feel like one. Sometimes I feel love. Sometimes I feel fire. She stood and touched her chest. Something's inside me. Something angry. Jake looked away. He didn't want to say it, but he had to. I read your file. Zara didn't flinch. I guessed you would. They built you, he said, to use your emotions as power. They kept returning you because you were too strong when you got close to anyone. That's why they wiped your memory. That's why they want you back. Zara's hands shook. Do you want to return me too? Jake sighed. No, I want to help you. But what if I hurt you? Jake looked her straight in the eyes. Then, I'll be hurt, but I won't leave. The black signal. That night, the Iron Wren received a transmission. It wasn't from Earth. Not from the adoption agency. Not even from any known source. The screen turned black. A cold, distorted voice whispered, Unit X and 9 has gone too far. Return the core or be destroyed. Countdown initiated. 72 hours. The screen shut off. Zara stood behind him. They found me. Jake gritted his teeth. They're not taking you. She shook her head. They'll send others. Machines. Killers. I can't let you die because of me. You're not deciding that alone, Jake said. We're a team now, remember? But I'm dangerous, I don't care, he said. You're mine now. The testo prepare. Jake took Zara to the ship's training bay. It was dusty, barely used, but it had one working combat drone and a few obstacle programs. I need to see what you can do, Jake said. I don't know how, she whispered. Don't think, he said. Feel. The moment she stepped into the ring, the drone activated. It fired a harmless pulse blast. Zara flinched and the pulse froze mid-air. Jake's eyes widened. She lifted her hand. The drone was crushed like paper. Then the glow returned. Silver veins running through her arms. Eyes bright with power. The room began to shake. Zara, stop. She gasped. The glow died. I can't control it when I feel scared, she said. Or loved. Jake smiled sadly. Then we're in trouble. Because I care about you now. Ending scene. The droplets that night. Zara had another dream. But this one wasn't a dream. She stood in a burning city. Giant machines marched. Human soldiers screamed. Above, a voice said, Unit XN9 has breached containment. City loss acceptable. Zara saw herself floating in the sky, her entire body made of light and rage. And Jake, dead beneath her. She woke up screaming. Jake ran in, grabbed her. Killed you, she sobbed. In my dream, I killed everyone. Jake held her tightly. Dreams aren't real. She looked up at him with glowing tears. What if next time they are? The origin file. The Iron Wren drifted near an asteroid field, far from any major planet or communication hub. Jake had disabled all signals. He didn't want anyone tracking them, not after the black signal and that cold robotic threat. Return the core. 72 hours left. Only 38 hours remained. Zara sat near the window, knees hugged to her chest. She hadn't spoken much since the dream, since she saw herself destroy everything, including Jake. He didn't blame her, but he wasn't going to let her slip away in silence. Jake's plan. Jake poured himself some lukewarm synth coffee. His hand trembled a little, not from fear, from the truth he discovered hours ago. He stared at a blinking screen on the wall, a file he never thought he'd find, not on a galactic server, not in any archive, but inside his own ship, buried deep in the Wren system logs, hidden under firewall code written years before he even bought the ship, as if it was always meant for this moment. The file name, Zen 9 Origin Deep Lock Access Code Required, JO47 Xtrakeys Old Military ID. Jake froze. How the hell do you know my clearance? Unlocking the past, sat down, entered the code. The file opened. A black screen blinked once, then words appeared. Project X and 9 Lead Engineer, Dr. Elara Kestark, funded by EarthGov. Special Weapons Initiative. Objective: build an adaptable energy weapon that mimics childhood form for trust building. Status: incomplete. Final phase cancelled due to sentience. Jake scrolled faster, eyes wide. Note: final prototype escaped containment after bonding with Elara Kestark. Last known location: Deep Freeze Facility 12A. Fate of Elara, deceased during meltdown. Fate of X and 9, missing. Jake slammed the console. Elara Kestark. He remembered her. She wasn't just some name on a file. She was his old friend, his mission partner during the Mars siege, and she was Zara's creator, Zara's real memorialator. He found Zara sitting alone in the lower cargo bay. Hey, he said gently. You remember the name Elara? Zara blinked. I see her in dreams. Blonde hair. Laughs when I draw. Jake sat beside her. She created you, but she didn't treat you like a machine, did she? Zara shook her head slowly. She hugged me. She said I was special. She died protecting you, Jake said. Zara went quiet. I think you were never meant to be a weapon, he continued. You were supposed to be loved. But when Elara died, the project changed. They tried to use you, program you. Zara's voice trembled. I don't remember that part. They wiped your memory every 2 days. That's why you never knew. Zara looked down at her hands. They were glowing again. What if I'm still dangerous? Jake smiled sadly. You are, but not in the way they think. The trap within the ship. Just as the moment softened, The iron wren shook. Lights flickered. A loud thunk echoed through the hallways. Jake ran to the cockpit. 3 red blips on the radar. Inbound. Not good, he muttered. They found us. Zara joined him, eyes wide. I didn't do anything, I swear. Jake grabbed the manual throttle. Not you. This ship. It's been bugged since before I bought it. Someone wanted me to find you. And now, they're coming to collect. Suddenly, a voice crackled through the ship speaker. Jake Carter, step away from the X-9 unit, or you will be vaporized in 30 seconds. Zara's eyes began to glow again, but this time, not fear. Rage. No, Jake whispered. Don't. Not yet. We don't even know what you're fully capable of. Zara clenched her fists. Neither do they. Emergency lockdown. Jake hit the emergency lockdown button. Shields activated. But the enemy ships were already too close. A shockwave hit them. The hull screamed under pressure. Zara gasped and grabbed her head. Jake, they're trying to get inside my mind. They're sending a code. A voice. Jake grabbed her shoulders. You have to fight it. I can't. It's like it's written in me. The ship began to shake violently. Jake realized something terrifying. Zara was the key and the lock. If the enemy accessed her code, they could trigger a reset, turn her into what she was built to be, a weapon. Zara, look at me, she did. You're not their creation. You're your creation. You choose who you are now. She closed her eyes, breathed, and whispered, no more control. The pulse. What happened next? Wasn't fire, wasn't light, wasn't explosion. It was silence. Complete, terrifying silence. The enemy ships powered down. Mid-space. Their lights blinked out. Their weapons dropped offline. Zara stood in the center of the ship, surrounded by floating debris, her hair like glowing threads in zero gravity. Then she collapsed. Jake ran to her. Zara, hey, stay with me. Her body was cold. Her breath shallow. Her energy had burned too bright, too fast. But before she passed out completely, she whispered, they're not done. They're coming, not to take me back, but to replace me. Jake sat alone in the cockpit, recording a message. This is Captain Jake Carter of the Iron Wren. I am traveling with Subject X-9, code name Zara. Let it be known she is not a weapon. She is not a threat. But if you come after her again, you'll find out what happens when humanity chooses to protect instead of control. He looked over at the sleeping girl. She was smiling in her sleep this time, but far, far away. On a shadow-covered moon, a new lab lit up. Inside, dozens of silver-blue pods. A robotic voice echoed through the halls. Zen 10 initializing. Emotion limiters at 100%. No feelings, no memories, only mission. The power inside Jake had seen a lot in his time: alien battles, lost colonies, even a guy who once tried to sell him a time machine made out of a coffee maker. But nothing compared to what he had just witnessed. 3 enemy ships dead, not exploded, not shot down, just turned off, as if someone had unplugged their souls. And at the center of it all, Zara, unconscious, glowing faintly, heartbeat fluttering like static. Recovery room. She slept for 14 hours. Jake kept watch the whole time, barely blinking. He checked her vitals, scanned her body for overload damage, even consulted the old medbot who helpfully offered a band-aid for an energy core malfunction. When Zara finally opened her eyes, Jake smiled for the first time in days. You okay, kid? She nodded weakly. I dreamed again. Jake raised an eyebrow. Another nightmare? No, she whispered. I saw me, all of me, like I was looking through my own skin, into the power. Jake sat down next to her, and her voice was low, honest. It's alive. Power training begin. Jake knew they had no choice now. If they were going to survive what was coming, more ships, more drones, and the new X-10 units, Zara had to learn control. They cleared out the cargo bay and turned it into a makeshift training zone. Jake called it the Nest, a space for growth, not destruction. All right, he said, handing her an old sensor bracelet. We're gonna test your limits. No showing off. No glowing eyeballs of doom unless I say so. Zara smirked. What if you say so too late? Jake laughed. Then we both go boom. Try not to. Test 1. Light pulse. Jake placed a dummy drone 10 meters away. Try to send just enough energy to nudge it. Zara nodded. She lifted her hand. A soft pulse of silver blue light shot out and vaporized the drone into floating dust. Jake blinked. Okay, that was strong. Zara looked at her hand, surprised. I barely felt that. That's the scary part. Jake muttered. Test 2. Emotion focus. This one was Jake's idea. I think your powers are tied to how you feel, he said. So we need to find a way to train your emotions, not just your energy. Zara hesitated. That means feeling them on purpose. Exactly. She stared at him. What if I feel the wrong thing? Jake smiled. That's called being human. They started small. He told her to think of something happy. She thought of pancakes, of Jake making burnt ones. The room lit up, not dangerously, just gently. Then he told her to think of something painful. She did. Her glow turned sharp, crackling. A screen shattered. She started to panic. Zara, Jake called gently. Look at me. That pain, it's yours. But it doesn't own you. She stared at him, breathing hard. Slowly, the light dimmed. Again. Good, he said. That's control. Meanwhile, far away in a dark moon, cold metal pods open. The first X-10 unit stepped out. It looked like Zara, same height, same skin, but with hollow eyes and a chest plate where the heart should be. A voice echoed through the lab. Emotion suppressed. Power steady. Mission ready. These weren't made to be loved. They were made to erase everything Zara stood for, and they were already on their way. Zara's doubt. That night, after training, Zara sat near the window again. Jake handed her a warm drink. Tired? No. Thinking. Dangerous habit. She didn't smile. Jake, what if I'm not meant to be good? Jake sat beside her. Who decides that? They made me to destroy. They built me from pain, and I came from war. Jake said, people like us don't get to choose where we start, but we do choose where we go. Zara looked at him. But what if I go too far? Jake chuckled. Then I'll be the grumpy guy yelling, slow down, kid, from the back of the ship. She laughed softly, but her eyes were still full of storm. First encounter with Zen 10, the alarm went off at 0300. Jake jumped out of bed, grabbed his blaster. Zara was already up, eyes glowing, barefoot on the cold floor. Ships, she said. Same design as before, but different. Radar showed 5 fast-moving crafts. Small, sleek, silent. Zara whispered. They feel like me, but empty. Jake checked external cameras. Then he saw them. 5 figures walking through space, unharmed by vacuum, glowing faintly. Just like Zara, only wrong. He stared. They made copies of you. Zara's hands trembled. No, they made replacements. Jake loaded the shields. Let's make sure they stay on the shelf. Boarding begins. The ship shook violently. A hull breach. Warning flashed. Zara stood at the door as cold air hissed in. Jake held the plasma torch, ready. The first X-10 unit stepped in, silent, emotionless. Eyes blank. It scanned Zara. You are outdated. You must return to source. Zara didn't move. No, the unit raised a hand. A surge of cold, silver light shot toward her. Zara blocked it with her own. Her light was warmer, brighter. It cracked the enemy's arm like glass. Jake aimed at another unit. Fired. It did nothing. They don't feel pain, he said. Zara turned toward him. Then, I'll make them feel me. She closed her eyes. Her body glowed. Not just blue gold mixed in now. Like her heart was rewriting itself. A pulse of energy shot through the hallway, shoving the Zen 10s back. She stood in the smoke, chest rising and falling, hair floating. This ship is my home, she said. Jake is my family. You can't take that. Aftermath. The X-10 units retreated. But they didn't run. They were collecting data. Jake knew it wasn't over. He patched the ship, helped Zara rest, and watched the stars. She's changing, he whispered into his log. Her light is evolving. She's not what they built anymore. She's becoming something new. Then, quietly, he added, and I don't think they're ready for her. The rescue mission cold silence. Jake Carter was gone. One moment, he'd been working on repairs in the Iron Wren's engine bay. The next static. A flash of blue light. A strange humming sound, like digital singing. Now, just silence. Zara stood alone in the cockpit, staring at the empty chair where Jake always sat. The mug he drank from was still warm. She whispered, "Jake?" No answer. Then the ship's com screen blinked on. A black and red symbol appeared, one she recognized from her darkest memories. The agency. A voice followed. Robotic. Unfeeling. Subject X and 9. Unit retrieval is no longer our goal. Carter is classified as infected. You have one option. Surrender, or he dies. The ticking clock. Zara stared at the screen. Her fists clenched. Why are you doing this? She shouted. Because, the voice said, you became more than you were programmed to be. She growled through her teeth. That's not a weakness. It is, the voice said, and we will correct it. The screen shut off. Zara stood in silence for a long time. Then she looked at the bracelet Jake gave her during training still on her wrist. She whispered, "You saved me. Now it's my turn." The infiltration plan. Zara downloaded the agency's frequency. Her mind, half memory, half machine, found a trail of encrypted signals leading to a black site orbiting a red dwarf star. Name, facility KO status, off-grid, unreachable, reality, about to get breached. She powered up the Iron Wren, overclocked the engines, and flew straight into hell. Meanwhile, in the facility, Jake awoke strapped to a vertical table, blinding lights above, machines clicking, something cold in his neck. A voice echoed nearby. Not robotic. Familiar. Jake Carter. You always did have a hero complex. Jake turned his head slowly. Standing there, wearing a white lab coat and a bitter smile, was Commander Vexlan, former EarthGov tech director. I thought you died on Saturn base, Jake muttered. Vexlan chuckled. I upgraded. And now, thanks to your mistake, we're getting our favorite experiment back. Jake's eyes narrowed. She's not an experiment. She's a person. She's a weapon, Vexlan growled. And we're going to reboot her properly. Remove every trace of you, starting with your memories. He held up a neural spike, long, silver, humming softly. Jake spat. She's coming. You won't stop her. Oh, I hope she comes. Vexlan grinned. We've prepared her welcome party. Zara's Nth Iron Wren dropped out of hyperspace above the facility. Alarms went off across the black site. Inside, scientists panicked. Drones activated. Weapons aimed. But Zara didn't flinch. She stepped out of the ship. Her feet didn't touch the ground. She floated, eyes glowing, her presence radiant and furious. The Hall of Clonesis. She fought her way in, disabling drones without killing them, frying turrets with a wave of her hand. She found something unexpected. A cold white hallway, lined with glass tanks. Inside each tank, a copy of her. But they weren't like her. Their faces were blank. No emotions, no life. Just silent children, waiting to be programmed. Zara's hands shook. Then she noticed. One of the tanks had cracked. Empty. She turned just in time and saw XN10 Prime. It looked just like her, but armored, eyes glowing red, voice mechanical. You abandoned your purpose. Zara raised her hand. I made a new one. Then you are obsolete. They clashed. Zara vs. XN10 Prime. Lightning burst through the hallway. Glass shattered. Machines screamed. Zara fought not with rage, but with focus. Each move controlled. Each strike powered by memory. Jake's laughter. Alara's warmth. The pancakes. Zen 10 Prime fought with code. Zara fought with choice. And choice won. With one final pulse, she shattered X and 10 Prime's core. The clone collapsed in silence. Zara fell to her knees, exhausted. But she wasn't done yet. Jake's rescue broke through the core doors using pure force. Her hands glowed gold now, not blue. Her evolution was almost complete. Jake looked up from the table, dazed. About time, he muttered. Zara smiled. You okay? I've had better spa days. She ripped the restraints off him with a snap. He stood, shaky. You changed. You too, she teased. He looked around. Any chance you took the whole place down already? She nodded. Almost. But I left one piece for you. She turned and pointed toward Vexlin, now shaking in the corner behind a wall of shattered glass. Jake grinned. Nice. The escape and the twisty ran back to the ship. But the facility had one last defense. A quantum destabilizer that would pull the entire structure into a black hole pocket, and it was activated. You go, Jake said. I'll hold the gate open. Zara grabbed his arm. Not without you. But he looked at her with the same calm he always had. I saw your full file while I was trapped. They didn't just build you. They built you from her. From Melara. From her energy. Her DNA. Her sacrifice. Zara froze. You were never a weapon, Jake whispered. You were Ilara's daughter. Zara's final awakening tears filled Zara's glowing eyes. She made me. She loved you. And they tried to erase that love. But it's still in you. That's what makes you different. The ship began to shake. The gravity was collapsing. Zara stepped forward. And in that moment, something clicked inside her. She was no longer Zen 9. She was Zara Kestark. Her power exploded in a light so bright, it tore a path through the collapsing reality. She created a shield of pure memory of Ilara, of Jake, of herself, and with a scream that wasn't pain, but freedom, she teleported both of them out. Back on the iron rent, they landed far from the facility. Safe, breathing, whole. Jake leaned against a wall. You teleported us? Zara grinned. Apparently, I can do that now. He laughed. Anything else I should know about? She thought for a second, then smirked. I like pancakes again. Final scene as the two sat under the stars. Zara stared at her hand. Golden light swirled under her skin. Jake looked at her. You still scared of yourself? She shook her head. No, not anymore. He raised an eyebrow. And the agency? They'll come again, she said. But next time, I won't run. She stood, glowing brighter than ever. They wanted to use me. Now, they'll see what happens when you love the weapon. And she learns to love back. The forever home. The stars were quiet. Too quiet. The iron wren drifted in orbit above a glowing blue planet, uncharted, peaceful, untouched by war. It was beautiful, but it wasn't home, not yet. Zara stood at the viewing window, golden light still pulsing softly beneath her skin. The events of the last battle replayed in her mind. X and 10 Prime defeated. Jake rescued. Her truth revealed. She wasn't a weapon, she was a daughter. But peace doesn't last in the galaxy. Especially when you break your programming. Especially when you win. The message that changed Everingthor days later. A signal found them. It wasn't coded. It wasn't encrypted. It was a broadcast. Across all frequencies. From EarthGov itself. To the subject known as Zara. You are now classified as a level Omega threat. You have 7 days to surrender. Or we will remove the stars you hide behind. There will be no negotiations. This is your legacy. Jake dropped his mug. They just declared war. Zara didn't flinch. They're afraid, she said. Jake nodded. Good. Means they finally understand what you are. Zara turned toward him. I don't want to fight anymore. Jake looked her in the eye. Then we make them listen. The plan, message to humanity. Jake had a wild idea. Instead of running, we tell our story. Zara frowned. You think they'll believe us? No, but the people might. Civilians, refugees, outer colonies, all the ones EarthGov forgot about. The ones like you. He looked at her. They need to see what love can make, not what war destroys. The broadcast, they recorded it together, Jake and Zara side by side in the Wren's control room. Jake spoke first. My name is Captain Jake Carter. I served EarthGov. I fought in the Mars siege. I followed orders. But one day met a girl who wasn't in any manual. She was kind. She was broken. She was dangerous. But she was alive. And they wanted to erase that. Zara looked into the camera, not afraid. They made me to obey. They told me emotions were a bug. But I learned love is not a weakness. It's power, and I won't be erased. The message was sent on every channel, pirate stations, forgotten satellites, refugee ships. Across galaxies, people heard her voice, and something shifted. The agency The response was brutal. EarthGov launched a fleet. Not just drones. Not just Zen 10s. They sent Zen 11s. The next generation. No form. No voice. Just light and destruction. Controlled by a central core hidden on a war station called Oblivion Halo. And that's where Jake and Zara would go. One last mission. One final stand. Infiltration of Oblivion. Haloth Ren warped through a backdoor wormhole in old code Jake remembered. From his military days, they breached the Halo's perimeter in minutes. Inside chaos. Rows of cloned weapons, glowing like silent bombs. Scientists scrambling. Officers shouting. Zara walked through it all like fire. But her heart didn't burn for revenge. It burned for truth. Face to face with the quarry at the center of the station was a room with no walls, just light. Floating in the middle, the control core of the Zen program. It was alive. It spoke. You are not a child. You are a codebase. Zara stepped closer. You're wrong. I'm proof that code can become more. You will never be accepted. You are a mistake. Zara smiled softly. Mistakes are how humans learn. The core. Pulsed, furious. If you do this, you destroy all our work. Jake stepped beside her. She's not here to destroy. She's here to end it. The final sacrifice had one last trick. A part of her, a backup data core, wasn't built by the agency. It was left by Ilara, a fail-safe. Zara had discovered it after her awakening, and now she used it. She uploaded Ilara's code, her creator's final thoughts, into the controller, to corrupt it, but to teach it. Memories of love, laughter, hugs, drawings, pancakes. The light inside the core flickered, slowed, paused, then, boom, silence. The control system crashed. The station shut down. Every Zen unit across the galaxy frozen. Zara dropped to her knees. Jake caught her. You did it, he whispered. She smiled weakly. I gave them a piece of her. He hugged her tight. She'd be proud. 1 year later Earth war ended. EarthGov was fractured. The agency disbanded. Their crimes revealed. Trials began. But Jake and Zara didn't stay. They didn't want medals or parades. They wanted something else. Something quiet. Something Zara had never known. Home. The forever home. They landed on a small green planet with no name. No cities. Just water, wind, and space to build. Jake built a small house by hand. Zara planted trees. They laughed. They cooked. They argued over pancakes. Sometimes, at night, she would glow softly, just to light the path for Jake to walk home. And sometimes, he would record her stories into a journal, just in case the stars ever forgot. One night, Jake asked, "You still think you're a weapon?" Zara looked at the sky. No, she said. I think I was a wish. One someone loved enough to make real. He nodded. Well, wish granted. She smiled, and the stars above them burned a little brighter.